Hey everyone! Have you ever wondered how the Amish manage to thrive off the grid and stay prepared for just about anything? You know, those folks could teach a masterclass in self-sufficiency. Today, we're diving into their time-tested secrets. Foods that never expire. We're talking about ingredients so resilient, so shelf-stable, they make a Twinkie look like a head of lettuce. But stick around because there's an unexpected twist at the end that might change how you think about food storage forever. This sweet nectar is often called liquid gold, and for good reason. Pure, raw honey can last indefinitely because of its low moisture content and natural preservatives. It's like nature's own pantry time capsule. Honey's superpower lies in its chemistry. See, those busy bees weren't just making breakfast, they were concentrating nectar into a thick syrup with such a high sugar content that bacteria just can't survive in it. Plus, honey has a naturally acidic pH, which further inhibits any microbial squatters. The Amish rely on honey for everything from baking to medicinal uses. It's a natural sweetener for their breads, biscuits, and pies, and it even finds its way into their traditional cough syrups and wound salves. Now, while honey might not technically expire, it can crystallize over time. But don't worry, that doesn't mean it's gone bad. It just needs a little spa treatment. To restore crystallized honey to its former glory, simply place the jar in a warm water bath and stir until the crystals dissolve. You can also use a microwave, but be sure to use low heat and short intervals to avoid overheating. Dried beans are the unsung heroes of the pantry. These nutritional powerhouses are high in protein and fiber and can be stored for decades if kept in a cool, dry place. That's right, decades. Talk about a long-term relationship. The Amish know that these humble legumes are a key to surviving long winters. They're inexpensive, versatile, and can be transformed into hearty soups, stews, dips, and even baked goods. But here's the catch with dried beans. They need a little coaxing before they're ready for their culinary debut. And by coaxing, I mean soaking. Soaking dried beans helps to break down complex sugars that can cause digestive issues. Plus, it rehydrates them, making them plump and tender. To properly soak your beans, simply cover them with water, about 3 inches above the beans, and let them sit overnight. Or, for a quicker method, you can bring the beans and water to a boil, simmer for a few minutes, then remove from heat and let them soak for an hour. Whether it's white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, this pantry staple never goes bad. It's like the Energizer bunny of condiments. It keeps going and going. Vinegar's longevity comes from its acidity. It creates an environment that's inhospitable to bacteria, mold, and other microorganisms that can cause spoilage. The Amish use vinegar for everything from pickling to cleaning. It's a natural preservative for cucumbers, beets, eggs, you name it. And it's also a powerful cleaning agent that can tackle everything from soap scum to mildew. Now, while vinegar itself doesn't expire, its quality can diminish over time. The flavor might become less intense and the color may change slightly. To ensure you're getting the most out of your vinegar, store it in a cool, dark place, away from direct sunlight or heat sources. Salt. It's the spice of life, the flavor enhancer, and the granddaddy of all food preservatives. It's been used for centuries to preserve food and for good reason. Salt doesn't spoil, and the Amish know that it's essential for preserving meats and flavoring foods. Salt's ability to preserve food comes from its ability to draw out moisture. See, bacteria and other microorganisms need moisture to survive. By removing the moisture, salt creates an environment that's inhospitable to these spoilage agents. The Amish rely on salt to cure meats, make pickles, and preserve vegetables. It's an essential ingredient in their sauerkraut, their chow chow, and their pickled eggs. Now, while salt itself doesn't expire, it can absorb moisture from the air, which can cause it to clump. To prevent this, store your salt in an airtight container in a cool, dry place. And here's a pro tip. If your salt does get clumpy, just pop a few grains of rice in the container. The rice will absorb any excess moisture and keep your salt free-flowing. Now we're moving into the realm of true survival fare. This is hardtack, a simple bread made from flour, water, and salt. It's not exactly a culinary masterpiece, but it can last for years, even decades if stored properly. Hardtack gets its longevity from its lack of moisture. It's essentially baked twice, driving out almost all of the water and creating a dense, dry biscuit that's resistant to spoilage. The Amish keep hardtack as an emergency food source, something to rely on when other food sources are scarce. It's not exactly palatable on its own, but it can be crumbled into soups, stews, or soaked in milk or water to soften it up. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Hardtack is not known for its flavor. It's often described as bland, hard, and, well, tooth-breakingly tough. But hey, in a survival situation, beggars can't be choosers, and who knows, maybe with enough butter and honey, even hardtack can be somewhat enjoyable. Whole grains, wheat berries, nature's pantry. Staple host. Wheat berries, the whole kernel of wheat before it's processed into flour, are a nutritional powerhouse. They're packed with fiber, protein, and essential nutrients. And unlike processed flour, they don't spoil as quickly because they're still in their natural form. Host, voiceover. The key to their longevity is their outer bran layer. This protective coating shields the inner endosperm and germ from moisture, air, and pests, extending their shelf life considerably. Host. The Amish use wheat berries to make bread, porridge, and even a type of coffee substitute. It's a versatile grain that can be ground into flour, sprouted for added nutrition, or cooked whole as a hearty side dish. Host, voiceover. To keep your wheat berries fresh, store them in an airtight container in a cool, dark place. And if you're really serious about long-term storage, consider vacuum sealing them or storing them in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Host, with proper storage, wheat berries can last for years, providing you with a nutritious and versatile staple for any occasion. Chapter 7. Ghee, clarified butter. The golden elixir. Host, ghee is a type of clarified butter that's been a staple in Indian cooking for centuries, and the Amish, with their practical approach to cooking, have adopted it as a shelf-stable alternative to regular butter. Host, voiceover, ghee is made by simmering butter over low heat until the milk solids separate and the water evaporates. What you're left with is pure butter fat, a golden elixir that's not only delicious but incredibly shelf-stable. Host, unlike regular butter, ghee doesn't require refrigeration and can last for months or even years if stored properly. The Amish use ghee for everything from cooking to baking to greasing their cast iron skillets. Host, voiceover. Its high smoke point makes it ideal for high-heat cooking, and its rich, nutty flavor adds depth and complexity to any dish. Host, to store ghee, simply keep it in an airtight container in a cool, dark place. No need for refrigeration, just pure golden goodness that's ready when you are. Chapter 8. Herbal Teas and Medicinal Herbs, Nature's Medicine Cabinet. Host. Long before modern medicine, people relied on the healing power of plants. And the Amish, with their deep connection to nature, continue to use herbal remedies to this day. Host, voiceover. Dried herbs and teas, when stored correctly, can last for years without losing their potency. The key is to protect them from moisture, light, and air, which can degrade their active compounds. Host. The Amish rely on these natural remedies for a variety of ailments. Chamomile for sleeplessness, peppermint for digestive issues, echinacea for immune support, the list goes on. Host, voiceover. They dry their own herbs, carefully preserving them for future use. They store them in airtight containers, away from direct sunlight to maintain their freshness and potency. Host. Now, while dried herbs and teas have a long shelf life, their flavor and aroma can diminish over time. It's best to use them within a year or two for optimal quality. Outro, the unexpected twist. It's not just about longevity, host. Now, here's the twist you didn't see coming. It's not just about having foods that never expire. It's about knowing when to use them. You see, even though some of these foods can last forever, their quality or taste may degrade over time. Host, for example, while honey never technically spoils, it can crystallize over time. That's not a bad thing, but it does mean you need to know how to properly store and reheat it to bring it back to liquid form. Host and hardtack? Sure, it lasts forever, but have you ever tried eating a decade-old biscuit without soaking it first? Trust me, you don't want to. Host. So the real secret isn't just about stockpiling foods that never expire, it's about using them wisely and making sure your storage methods are on point.